Hello class. We'll be taking forth our discussion on the contract of agency. We have already discussed section 182, which defines what do we mean by an agent, what do we mean by a principal. We also discussed about section 183, 184, 185 and 186, which basically tells us about the essentials of a valid contract of agency. Then we discussed the various modes of creation of agency, the various ways through which the contract of agency can be created, and the last topic which we discussed in the previous class was the requisites for a valid ratification. Now today we will be talking about the agent's authority. So as you can see, the agent's authority has been divided into three parts: the actual or real authority, which is given in section 186 and also in 188, then ostensible or apparent authority, and third is the authority in an emergency, which we have already discussed under section 189. Now the actual or real authority means that when the agent is being given authority by the principal through the express or implied contract. So something which comes within the scope of express authority or implied authority, if such authority is given to the agent can bind the principal for all his acts. That is the actual authority or the real authority. The act, it clearly lays down that, in section 188 it lays down that an agent who has an authority to do an act is actually being given an authority to do any such thing, any such lawful thing which is necessary to perform that act. So if I have employed my agent for a particular task, then whatever other related tasks are to be done in order to complete that main task, for that also automatically the authority has been given to the agent. Now, the ostensible or the apparent authority is the authority which appears as if the agent is possessing, depending upon the trade practices, depending upon the kind of agency contract that has been entered into. So basically ostensible or apparent, what does this word mean? It means something which seems to exist. So expressly it has not been stated anywhere, but the situation show, the circumstances show, or the kind of agency that has been given, it automatically makes it clear that this authority is being given. So if the agent is performing something, is doing an act which comes within the limit of this ostensible authority or the apparent authority, the principal will be bound by that particular act. Then is the agent's authority in an emergency, which we have already discussed under section 189, that an agent is if doing any act for protecting the principal from particular loss, and because of that emergency situation the agent could not take prior permission of the principal but has acted in a bona fide manner, then also it will be taken to be under the agent's authority. Now, section 190, the next section that we are going to discuss, talks about the delegation of authority. When an agent has been hired, the principal has passed on his authority to the agent. So there has been already a delegation of authority. Now this section talks about the circumstances wherein they ask that can an agent further delegate the authority? So in general, the principle which holds true is that a delegate cannot further delegate. So somebody who has already got the powers or the authority, because somebody has delegated that authority to them, cannot further delegate it. So if A has given some authority to B as his agent, the B cannot further delegate that task to C, क्योंकि वो ऑलरेडी डेलीगेटेड टास्क ही है, तो एक जिसको डेलीगेट होके टास्क मिला है वो फर्दर उसे डेलीगेट नहीं कर सकता है. However, there are few exceptions in the contract of agency wherein the further delegation might be there. जब एक further delegation होती है तो हम जिसको further delegate हुआ है काम, उसे हम सब एजेंट कहते हैं. तो A ने काम B को दिया, तो B जो है वो A के एजेंट है, और अगर बी आगे काम सी को देते हैं, नॉर्मल सर्कमस्टांसेस में इट इज नॉट अलाउड, ओनली इन दीज एक्सेप्शंस दैट वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस दिस इज अलाउड. And if B gives such authority to C, if delegates the authority to C, then C would be known as the sub-agent. Now, what are the cases, what are the situations wherein this such delegation to sub-agent can take place? First, the principal has given the consent for this. The principal has the knowledge that a sub-agent is being hired, and there is an express consent or an implied consent from the principal for the same. The nature of agency is such, the nature of business that is being conducted, the nature of task that is to be conducted under this contract of agency is such which allows the appointment of a sub-agent. Similarly, the trade which you are into, the business which you are into, वहां पर यह कस्टमरी है, वहां पर ऐसा होता ही है कि एक एजेंट जो है वो आगे सब एजेंट्स को एम्प्लॉय करते हैं. तो अगर किसी ऐसे बिजनेस में आप एजेंट को एम्प्लॉय करते हैं और वो आगे सब एजेंट को डेलीगेट करते हैं, दैट विल बी वैलिड. In case of ministerial acts basically means the clerical task, the tasks wherein you are not required to apply your brains as such. आपको काम दिया जाएगा, आपको directions दी जाएंगी, आपने सिर्फ वो करना है. So say for example, if there is a task of data entry जिसमें सिर्फ आपको फिगर्स दिए हैं, आपको उसे एक्सेल शीट में सिर्फ एंटर करना है, कुछ अपना उसमें डिस्क्रिशन आपको नहीं है, आपका कोई डिसीजन मेकिंग पावर उसमें नहीं है, इस तरह के काम को सब एजेंट्स को डेलीगेट किया जा सकता है. And lastly, the last exception is unforeseen emergencies. So if such an emergency has come wherein you have to further delegate the task, then it might be allowed. So say for example, if I have been given some task by my principal, it has to be performed today, and I fall ill. मुझे लगता है कि मैं ये काम नहीं कर पाऊंगी, तो मैं उस काम को आगे किसी और को डेलीगेट कर देती हूँ. This is an unforeseen emergency which has arisen, due to which I am giving my powers further to a sub-agent, then it would be allowed. Now let us try to understand what is the meaning of this term sub-agent. It has been defined in section 191, and it says it is a person employed by and acting under the control of the original agent in the business of agency. So as I told you, A has appointed B as his sub-agent, as his agent. So B is the agent of A. B further appoints C as an agent for the task. So C becomes the sub-agent, and this C is being employed by B and is acting in under the control of B. C का A के साथ डायरेक्टली कोई रिलेशनशिप, प्रिंसिपल के साथ कोई डायरेक्ट रिलेशनशिप नहीं है. So if we talk about the relationship between the sub-agent and principal, between A and C, they have been further defined into two sections, section 192 and section 193. 192 सेक्शन उन केसेस के साथ डील करता है जब सब एजेंट को आपने जो अपॉइंट किया है वो प्रॉपर अपॉइंटमेंट है. प्रॉपर अपॉइंटमेंट का क्या मतलब हुआ, जो हमने ऊपर अभी एक्सेप्शंस पढ़े हैं उनमें से किसी एक्सेप्शंस की वजह से अगर सब एजेंट का अपॉइंटमेंट हुआ है, it is taken to be as proper appointment of sub agent. And if the sub agent is not properly appointed, has been appointed without authority, then section 193 would be applicable. अब section 192 क्या कहता है कि अगर proper appointment हुई है sub agent की, then in that case the principal will be responsible for the acts of sub agent as well. जैसे जो प्रिंसिपल है एजेंट के एक्ट्स के लिए रिस्पॉन्सिबल होता है टुवर्ड्स दी थर्ड पार्टीज, वैसे ही प्रिंसिपल जो है सब एजेंट के एक्ट्स के लिए भी रिस्पॉन्सिबल होगा, प्रोवाइडेड द सब एजेंट हैज बीन अपॉइंटेड in a proper manner. The agent will be responsible to principal for the acts of sub agent. तो अब यहाँ पे एक तीन लेवल्स आ गए हैं. सबसे ऊपर प्रिंसिपल है, देन एजेंट है, देन सब एजेंट है, एंड देन यू हैव द थर्ड पार्टीज जिनके साथ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हो रहा है. तो अगर थर्ड पार्टीज के साथ एजेंट ने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एंटर किया या सब एजेंट ने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एंटर किया, थर्ड पार्टीज किसको रिस्पॉन्सिबल होल्ड करेंगी, प्रिंसिपल को. अब प्रिंसिपल को अगर किसी को होल्ड करना है कि आपने ये काम क्यों किया, ठीक है, सब एजेंट ने कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एंटर किया, द प्रिंसिपल इज नॉट हैप्पी विद इट, देन हु इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल टू प्रिंसिपल, द एजेंट इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल टू द प्रिंसिपल फॉर द एक्ट्स ऑफ सब एजेंट. क्योंकि सेक्शन 191 क्या कहता है कि सब एजेंट इज अ पर्सन who has been employed by and is acting under the control of the original agent. The last point says that the sub-agent will be responsible for his acts to the agent but not to the principal except in cases of fraud or willful wrong. So basically sub-agent is responsible to the agent is responsible to the principal, and principal is responsible to the third parties. This is how the hierarchy is followed if the sub-agent has been properly appointed. In case the sub-agent has done any fraud or has done something wrong willfully, then the sub-agent will be directly responsible to principal as well. Now, the next section 193 talks about the situation that if sub-agent has not been properly appointed, then what would be the situation? So, in such a case, the principal will not be responsible for the acts of sub-agent to the third parties. The agent will be responsible for the acts of sub-agent, क्योंकि sub-agent को employee किसने किया है? Agent ने, और proper appointment नहीं है, इसलिए agent ही responsible होगा for all acts of sub-agent to the principal also and to the third parties also. और sub-agent और principal के बीच में इस तरह की कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स में, इस तरह की एजेंसी में जो कि प्रॉपर अथॉरिटी से अपॉइंटमेंट नहीं हुआ है सब एजेंट का, तो प्रिंसिपल और सब एजेंट के बीच में कोई भी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एग्जिस्ट नहीं करेगा, कोई भी रिलेशनशिप एग्जिस्ट नहीं करेगा. फाइन. सो दिस इज हाउ द रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन सब एजेंट एंड द प्रिंसिपल इज टू बी seen. Now the last topic for today that we are going to discuss is about the substituted agent. Substituted agent क्या है? B is an agent of A. A ने B को कहा कि मुझे अपना कुछ काम करवाना है, तुम बताओ कि किससे करवा सकते हैं. ठीक है, I want to get this task done. Please find the person for me who can do this task. B ने C का नाम जो है वो A को बता दिया और A ने वो C से काम करवाया. अब यहां पर C जो है वो सब एजेंट नहीं है, क्योंकि B अपना काम C को नहीं दे रहा. B एजेंट है, वो A के कहने पर किसी और काम के लिए C को ला करके दे रहे हैं, C का नाम रिकमेंड कर रहे हैं. तो इस केस में C जो है would be a substituted agent. So when an agent, this is defined in section 194 of the act, when an agent, fine, who has been given an authority, whether express terms or implied terms, to name another person to act for the principal, and the agent names such other person accordingly, such other person is known as sub agent. So A ने B से कहा कि तुम मेरे एजेंट हो, मुझे काम करवाना है, मुझे इसमें बिजनेस में हेल्प चाहिए, तुम किसी का नाम बताओ, और B ने C का नाम बताया. तो इस केस में A is principal, B is agent and C is substituted agent. ठीक है, he won't be a sub agent. And such agent, जो आपका substituted agent है, would be directly responsible to the principal, and principal will be responsible to the third parties. So this substituted agent will almost work like an agent only. ठीक है, बहुत ज्यादा डिफरेंस एजेंट और सब्स्टिट्यूटेड एजेंट में नहीं आएगा. सेम रिलेशनशिप रहेगा बिटवीन द प्रिंसिपल एंड एजेंट एंड प्रिंसिपल एंड सब्स्टिट्यूटेड एजेंट. द ओनली डिफरेंस इज कि प्रिंसिपल ने अपने आप से ढूंढकर हायर नहीं किया है, उन्होंने एजेंट की रिकमेंडेशन पर हायर किया है सब्स्टिट्यूटेड एजेंट को. सब एजेंट वो है जिसे एजेंट ही हायर कर रहा है. सो दैट सब एजेंट इज वर्किंग अंडर द एजेंट, substituted agent is working directly under the principal. So I hope the difference between sub-agent and substituted agent is clear to you. In the next class, we will be talking about the duties of the agent, the rights of an agent, and what are the liabilities of the principal towards the third parties. These are certain topics that we are going to discuss in the next class. Thank you.